Okay, get it together. Taking forever to load. Didn't click that. Stop it. Okay. Hello, hello. My weekend was good. Make sure we're doing all the good things as we come in today, guys. My jam scared. I got chucked here. Egg refugee raid. She just chuck y'all. Good morning. Good morning, good afternoon to those of you on the East Coast. It is Midterm Monday. It is 420. Happy 420 for all of those who celebrate. It's Manny's birthday, so we say a happy birthday to Manny, even though he can't hear us right now. We definitely bombarded him with it earlier. So there's always that. So welcome in, welcome in. I appreciate you guys. Make sure if you're on TikTok that we're tapping that screen, sharing the live out, doing your daily heart me. If you have not done so, I would appreciate it very much. If you are on Twitch and YouTube, on YouTube specifically, make sure that you do the thumbs up over there to help push us out, see if we can have conversations today. Of course, we are going to start with Midterm Monday and with elections. That's how we always start. That's how we're going to continue to start. I have my 100 goal that I have every single day, guys. This is my job. This is what I do for a living. I put these outlines together. We go over stuff with elections, politics in general, and put all this stuff together for you. So I would appreciate if we could help out with that. In the link tree in my bio, I have my Cash App, my Venmo, my PayPal. If we could start getting that goal down, that would be wonderful. I can't see it very well from here. I did put makeup on, but if you were not in Olives this morning and you did not get a chance to see, yes, it looks like I have a black eye. Why? My cat gave it to me. I was sleeping and all of a sudden I feel boom and hurt like a motherfucker. I don't know what scared her. I don't know if the other cat jumped at her. I don't know what the fuck happened because I was asleep. And she split right here. She just missed my eye. And then I've got that right there. Fucking bitch ass cat. Yeah, boom. Fucking bitch ass cat. She was laying right next to me. And then all of a sudden I feel her just jump and whack me in the face. So maybe it was a ghost. It was not a ghost. Oh, the ghost scared the cat? Maybe. Maybe the ghost scared the cat. I don't fucking know. I don't know what set her off like that. And she jumped onto the top of my bed and onto the side table and like took off. And I was like, what the fuck? I could have said I fought RNC ninjas. Yeah, I could have said that, but that wouldn't be the truth. So there's that. She saw Pick a Trump. Maybe. Could have been that too. Definitely could have been that. So yeah, how's everybody else doing?
Tired.
Yeah. Okay.
Trying to figure out birthday dinner tonight. So, guys, as we knock down Monty's goal, if you guys want to send a little note for birthday dinner suggestions, let me know. Keep it appropriate, though. Thank you.
What does that comment even mean? I see y'all eating them up. Enlightened Mahogany. Notice she says no boyfriend. Shocker. Why would I did my intros. Why would I mention my husband? Why would I do that? Do you think he determines what I do with my life? That's interesting. Interesting. Okay. So let's get to elections that are coming up this week. Make sure that we always know about these. That's the goal here. Okay. So in Colorado here today, I know that it is Colorado's day. It is 420, but y'all need to pay attention. In Firestone, you have the Firestone Board of Trustees recall election. So that is going on tomorrow. Florida, you have Florida local elections. Florida Treasure Island. Arthur, I'm going to butcher this name and I apologize. Arthur Sisson recall. April 21st. New Jersey, you have two Newark Public Schools. So you have Newark Public Schools general election and a Newark Public Schools special election tomorrow. South Carolina, you have South Carolina local elections tomorrow. Virginia special ballot measure election. Also, since we are on Virginia, I don't know if people heard that Senator Mark Warner and his wife released a statement that their 36-year-old daughter has passed away. She was battling a lot of health issues. I know things like diabetes and stuff like that. And they just released a statement that she passed away. So all the love to Senator Mark Warner and his wife for the loss of their daughter. Utah is this Toole County or Tooele County? County Republican Convention is going to be on the 23rd. So if you're a Republican in Utah, you have another convention coming up in that county specifically. Delaware local elections, April 25th. Michigan, you have the Michigan Green Party State Convention. This is day 2 of that convention, April 25th. You have Texas local elections on April 25th. Utah, you have your statewide Republican, Democratic, and Constitution Party conventions on the 25th as well. Utah State Board of Education District 7. So you have a convention for your State Board of Education. Now, I will always say I think that those are going to be one of the most important elections that we ever talk about is going to be your education board. A lot of people don't vote in those, and they need to understand how conservatives are trying to infiltrate the school system, and that is what controls the curriculum that goes on for your child. So it's really, really, really fucking important. I say that as somebody who had to keep out 3 different Moms for Liberty candidates in our school board in 2024. And then we move on to California for next week, which I will do next week. So quite a few. Again, like I always say, Ballotpedia, they have their election calendars. You can click it for their upcoming races and go by date, and it will give you all the ones that are upcoming. So make sure we are paying attention to that. Okay. Let's do... Oh, I see people have been inviting you, but you're too scared to come up and talk about it. I see Enlightened Mahogany just over there crying. All right, so then we'll move on to our regular stuff. But actually, this is still in the vein of elections, so we're going to go here first. This is Pete Buttigieg, and he's been rumored to be a candidate. He's not I don't think he's officially come out, unless that was him. Well, the Al Sharpton interview. Okay, a bunch of Democrats went and did a speaking engagement with Al Sharpton, and Al Sharpton was basically saying, like, "Are you running?" And he basically said, "If you sign me up for this, I'm there." So we kind of know that Pete Buttigieg is probably going to run in 2028. Again, most people won't make it official until after the midterms. We know this, but his name is one who's being floated around. I personally, I do love Pete Buttigieg. I'm a fan. Doesn't mean he's perfect. Obviously, there's things to criticize to make better, but I really, really like him and his platform. So he is going to give out what he calls a word of warning, because the problem is that voting in a Democrat in 2028 isn't automatically going to fix what's going on, but we also can't go backwards. So he's making that point, and I think it's a really good point to make, and I'm glad to see it being done by a politician. So we will talk about that. I don't like Shapiro. I'm not the one for that. Hi, Joe. How are you today?
Good. I don't understand why Ari, like, anytime she sees me in the chat, she like invites me up. It's kind of like weird. It's like obsessive behavior.
Cool. Well,
strange.
Well, you're in these
But
spaces.
how can I help you?
Who'd you vote for, and how old are you?
Voted for Trump, 38.
Okay. Why are you still supporting Trump?
Why wouldn't I?
Why are you? That's what I'm asking.
Because I mean, he's been doing great in my eyes.
With
Nothing
what?
really
With
I
what?
can
We
see
can
that I would
talk about
change.
it. Name something he's
Yeah,
been doing great.
I got brought up on here, so
Cool.
if you,
I'm asking you questions. Is it that difficult for you to critique your support of somebody? If you support him as hard as you say that you do, and as with conviction that you say that you have, you can at least name one thing he is doing
did
correct.
I say I support him hard?
Do you? Do you
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. So
Do you
I
or
said I
not?
support him. It's like I'm not like on my knees worshiping the guy.
That's great.
Are you okay?
I'm glad
Calm
about
down.
that. I'm glad about that. So then, can you
Take one less Adderall every
be
day.
can you be honest and not be disingenuous and give me a reason, a political policy that you like from him for why you support him? This is not that difficult.
Yeah, he does what he says.
Like what?
Like bombing Iran.
When did he campaign?
Like,
When did he campaign
I
on
mean,
bombing Iran?
he's been talking about that since the 90s.
When did he campaign on bombing Iran? I don't care what he
He's
said
been
when he wasn't.
back in the 90s saying that Iran
That MAGA Wi-Fi is doing the MAGA Wi-Fi things.
people, if I get a chance to terror people, I'm going to bomb the shit out of Iran if I get a chance to bomb the shit out of
Where
Iran.
can you find that for me? Can you find that headline for me? Where he said that?
I'm not. It's. He's interviewed many times in the 90s
Sure,
saying that
go
he would
find
bomb
one.
Iran.
Okay, many times. Go ahead and find one for me.
I'm not going to teacup to go find some shit for you to go find out.
You just
He's
believe
been saying
stuff.
this. since the 90s. No.
He did not campaign on
No.
that, though, did he? He didn't campaign on that. He
He
campaigned
campaigned on
no
peace
new
through
wars.
strength.
He
He campaigned on peace through
He
strength.
specifically.
He
You want to calm
campaigned on
down?
peace
Take
through
one less.
strength. This is
Take
not a
one less
war.
out. Take one less Adderall a day. It would be all right. Yeah, calm
that's
down.
cute. That's cute. That's cute.
He specifically said no new wars. He specifically said that during Obama's
Is this a
term,
war?
that a president who is bad at diplomatic negotiations would bomb Iran. So where is it that he said he would? Because I have not been able to find that.
Did he or did he not in his first term try to work with Iran?
No.
No. Okay.
What did he do? What did he do with
This is like, and anything I say, you're just gonna say no to.
No,
So,
no.
do you want to have an honest
Legitimately, he
conversation or
did
no?
no. Legitimately, he did not try to work with Iran. He specifically pulled out of the JCPOA in 2018, and then he
Why?
put sanctions
Yeah,
on
why?
them. Why? I don't know why.
Yeah,
Tell
okay.
me why.
This is the willful ignorance that your side plays,
No,
and
why
it's
did he
so
do it?
comical.
Why did he
it's
do it?
so comical.
No, why did he
It is
do it?
Why
so
did he do
comical.
it? Why'd he pull out of the JCPOA?
Right. Why did he
Because
do it?
they weren't sticking to the terms of the
Prove that.
JCPOA in the
Prove
first
that.
place.
Prove that.
Yeah, the IAEA report
Cool.
that was just recently released in 2025.
And what's the title of that? I would love to read that. If this is new information that I don't have, I
go
would love
for
to
it.
read that. Give me the name of the report. IAEA 2025 report. What's the name?
Yeah, you can find it. That's all you got to do.
That's
IAEA most recent report on Iran. It's pretty easy.
On Iran specifically, right? Because what comes up is other stuff, right? Okay. Let's see. Is this one September?
Are you denying?
September 3rd of 2025.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so show me in here where they broke the JCPOA before 2018.
Yeah, I'm not going to read a multi-page document with you.
You've
on the
never
live.
read it.
You
You've
can
never read it
yourself.
You
Yes, I
have
can.
never read
Yes,
it.
I've
So
read
then
it
you
already.
should be able to show. It is 9 pages. It's 9 pages. Show me here where they broke it before that point. Actually, we can just Control F 2015.
The IAEA reports that they were, in fact, enriching uranium past the point that they said they were
Show
going
me
to
that.
enrich it past.
Show me that. I want to see it.
They
Show
found
me
that in there.
that. Show me.
I'm
I want
not
to
going
see
to do
it.
your fucking research
It's your
for you.
research. It's your research
No.
because I've never seen it. You guys talk about it, but I've never seen it.
Well, it seems that like maybe you lack the skills to research properly.
Nope, I
then.
have researched it.
If you've been told
you guys
multiple
have not,
times,
and you
if
guys
you've
all
been
lie,
told
and
multiple
every
times,
single time,
and you can't
and every
find
single
it,
time,
it seems like
and every single
you're
time,
the missing
and
link.
every single
It
time,
seems like you're
you
the
guys
missing
say,
link.
"I refuse to look it up." Every single time, you guys say, "I'm not
I'm
going
not
to do your
going to do your
homework for
fucking
you."
research for
I
you.
have looked. It doesn't
you say
exist.
something,
The only
when we
thing
say
that
something,
happens
and
is
you
that
say, "Oh yeah,"
after we pulled out, they started enriching. That's the only thing I've ever been able to find by the IAEA. That's it. So it's your fucking homework because it's your fucking claim. I'm so sorry that we require you to actually prove the shit that comes out of your fucking mouth. It's not me doing my homework. It would be me doing yours. You fucking find it because I've never seen it.
the particles that were found were already found to have been from prior to us getting out of the JCPOA.
Show me that. I want to see it. What page? What title of what article?
Do your own research.
No, do yours. W. Olive. Do yours. You guys have said this in many a lives, many a days, for fucking years, and yet you guys cannot produce a document that actually shows the IAEA saying that they broke the agreement before he pulled out of the JCPOA. The only thing you can find is after, which guess what wouldn't be breaking it because we pulled out. Try again. Okay.
I think he needs to go work on his designs a little bit better.
Okay, where also never seen a video of Trump claiming that he wants to bomb Iran. Never seen that before.
Nope.
Everything I've seen is him saying that is for the weak and for people who don't know how to be diplomatic. So there's that aspect of it. All right, so back to Buttigieg. Oh, I didn't open the call line as well. I'll open that up. Guys, make sure we're booping that screen, sharing the live out. I have a 100 on my goal. Let's make sure we start getting that down, please, because we have to talk to dummies like that. So this is Pete Buttigieg talking about how it's a word of warning to the Democratic Party. We can't go back. We have to make sure we take the pieces of what we have to move progressively forward.
I think that's the question. Because we'll start by just picturing that day. Right? Picture the day when the current president, for the first time that the sun comes up over Tulsa, and the current president has left the political scene, right? Definitely something to look forward to. But then what? Then what? And my word of warning.
Paisley, you're not in the request, sweetie. I can request you up. There you go. I just invited you, honey, since you're having a hard time.
To my own political party.
Okay.
I was in the request. I was ignored.
Sure, we're not. Can I get your age and who you voted for?
Already.
Can I get your age and who you voted for?
I think it's obvious who I voted for.
Cool. How old are you?
32.
Okay. Why are you still supporting Trump?
Why not?
Why are you still supporting him?
Because I believe in what he's doing.
Like what? Name one thing and we can talk about
Everything.
it. Name
Everything he
something.
does.
Name something.
When he pisses in the morning, when he shits at night.
That's great. Good for you.
I believe everything he does.
I know. Your kink is weird, but we don't have to talk about that. I don't kink shame. I just kink ask why. So what political policy of his do you support that we can talk about?
What his current views in Iran are, absolutely.
Why do you support what's going on in Iran?
Because it's about time. It's been hanging over our head for 40 plus years.
What has?
It's about time.
What has been hanging over our head for 47 years?
Well, you're too young to understand, so I can't, teach you things.
Oh, really? You can't
Iran's
explain to me?
Iran's been a threat since the 70s.
Why is that?
Because they've been a threat since the 70s.
What happened before the 70s?
I've grown up all my life being told to watch out.
That's great. What happened before the 70s?
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
What happened before the 70s? Why were they all of a sudden a threat in the 70s?
I wasn't alive. I can't tell you that.
Oh, you can't research history about what the United States did in Iran?
Why would I have to bother researching history when I've known what it is since the 70s?
Because you should probably know the backstory. It's not like all of a sudden they became a boogeyman overnight,
what backstory?
right?
Go ahead and tell me what backstory.
You know what Operation Ajax is?
Tell me what backstory.
I just told you.
Operation Ajax it's like a soap product.
I said Operation Ajax.
Yeah, it's a soap product. I use it to clean my dishes.
He's in his 30s.
You're in your 30s and you're this dumb?
He's not even dumb. He's just being willfully ignorant because he's a troll.
Well, whatever.
Which is funny. You said you're 32, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm too young to understand?
Mm-hmm.
I'm 3 years older than you, Booski.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
See, that's why I point out.
I'm 3 years older than you.
There's zero age verification on this app. I can make up any number.
But that's only because Republicans are comfortable talking to people below the age of 18.
Oh, you're 55. Okay, so then you really should know what happened before the 70s in Iran. So go ahead, you 55-year-old who lied about being 32, probably going after young girls. I bet your following list looks real interesting, doesn't it, Paisley? I bet it does. Yeah, go ahead, have a gander. Have a gander. So, again, we had Operation Ajax, where we actually helped to overthrow a duly elected leader in Iran, and it led to the conservatives, far right. Yes, Iran. Led to the far right conservatives taking over that party. It's Iran.
No, the Americans pronounce it Iran.
They definitely don't. Just stupid Americans.
Oh, like you?
No, like you.
Oh, whatever.
Oh, whatever.
Have a horrible day, bitch.
Oh, you gonna run?
Wait, Paisley, do you know?
Oh, Booski.
I need to understand. Do Republicans not know the difference between AI women and real women? Because I question when a bunch of Republican men follow this AI creator who's like, oh my gosh, follow me if you like Trump, and you can obviously tell their boobs are fake, everything about them is fake, and they're like, yes, baby, I love you. Do you know the fact that she can't touch you consensually, even though you wouldn't care?
Guys, can we finish out those roses, please, over here? That would be great. I would appreciate it so that we can move on to a new gift. I knew his following list was going to look the way it looked. Why? Because why is your only answer when I ask you why you're supporting this man to say, why not? You should have reasons why you support him, and then we can critique it. That's the whole entire goal. Critique what you support. You guys don't look up anything. You just glaze Trump's taint. That's it. That's all you've got. Ooh, tacos. Okay. Pete Buttigieg, y'all. Also, let's make sure we are doing the gift gallery because my gift gallery refreshed. So if you go into and click on my profile picture over here on TikTok, and you'll see it says C5 gift gallery. If you are one person and you do like all 10 donuts, you need to do like all 6 hat and mustaches. If we could get that going this week and start completing out the gift gallery, that would be fucking awesome. I would appreciate it. Remember, guys, this is my job. I have to deal with these fucking idiots all week. And so I'd appreciate it if I get paid for that labor. A woman's labor shouldn't be free. So let's make sure we are doing that, please. And I will play Buttigieg.
Right? Definitely. Definitely something to look forward to. But then what? Then what? And my word of warning to my own political party is that we would make a terrible mistake if we thought that our job was to just take power somehow and then put everything back the way it was. That's not what we're here to do. We're not out to go around and just find all the little bits and pieces of everything that they smashed and tape it together and say, here you go, I give you the world as it looked in 2023. That's not going to work. It's not what we need. So much has changed. And the truth is, they are destroying things right and left. They're destroying a lot of good, important things. They're destroying some useless things too, because they're destroying everything. So now we get a chance to put things together on different terms. I'm thinking of some examples. The Department of Education. Wiping out the Department of Education is criminally wrong. Okay? But that doesn't mean the Department of Education, the way it used to look, is exactly perfect. And so we can build it on new and different terms.
So I think that that's actually a good message for whoever decides to run or the Democratic Party in and of themselves to have, which is that we're not trying to go back. We need to take what we have and we need to look forward to progressing and fixing in the future. Okay, let's do that one. And then on the same vein here, we've got this guy still peddling election lies. Which we'll get into him for sure. Yes, we're e-begging Zohan. You can be very, very mad about that. Guys, make sure you contribute to my grift just to prove Zohan wrong. There's 48 of you over on YouTube. Let's make sure that we hit that thumbs up over there. And I do have the phone line open if you wish to have a conversation with factually based evidence and not your feelings. Don't tell me to look up your claim. Find the headline, find the title of the report, then I will bring it up and we can look at it together and go over it together. But I'm not going to do your research for you of things you've actually never looked at. But you can give me a call, 509-795-0412, if you would like to have that conversation. Also, yes, remember, you guys can pay for mutes in the chat. You can do the Rubin rate if you want to. That's $2 a day, $7 for the week. What's the month? I can't remember. We'll just play it. Why don't we play it?
Are you tired of seeing Rubin, aka Sandwich, in the chat? Are you tired of seeing his completely idiotic takes? Or maybe you want to contribute to his degradation kink. But remember, we don't kink shame, but it's totally fair to kink ask why. Or maybe you just want him to shut the fuck up. Well, you can keep him muted for as little as $2 a day, $7 a week, or $25 a month. From now until whenever we fucking feel like.
So, you absolutely can choose to do that for someone if you wish. Okay, let's do that. And then we'll get to this allegedly drunk POS. And we'll get into that as well.
Let me ask you about the mission, because every time I see President Trump, he says this repeatedly, that the election was rigged in 2020. I mean, he says it all the time. We all know that. And it's almost getting lost because he says it so much. You've been at the FBI now 14 months. Have you done anything about that? And do you have anything to tell us about that?
Absolutely, Maria. Look, I've been with the president nearly since day one on this. As I told you earlier, I was the one that led the effort with folks like Trey Gowdy, Johnny Ratcliffe, and Devin Nunes to expose the corruption that tried to thwart President Trump's first presidential election run. And we saw the FISA abuses there. And I lived through it, and the media came at me then, too. That just shows you that when you're over the target, you keep pummeling the target because the media's going to try and pummel you.
Now, what he's talking about in the way of FISA, we covered last week, which is it's supposed to be, right, what allows us to spy on threats to our national security, our elections, all those sorts of things of foreign interference. The problem is that Section 702 also allows for warrantless spying on American citizens as well. And that's a problem. And he's openly talking about the fact that because of things that happened with the election in 2016 that he would want to see this done. So that's what he's talking about specifically.
We are not going to take this and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also at this FBI...
It's not going anywhere.
Even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go because they not only have personally attacked the presidency of the United States and President Trump, but they tried to thwart our elections and rig the entire system. And that is not something that is going to stop on. That is not something I'm going to allow on my watch. But you just have to remember, they built this disease temple over 20 and 30 years. We've got all the evidence. I can announce on your show that we've got all the
We've got all the what?
Information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests. And it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well,
I bet it's not. But also, Phantom, thank you for the 100 bits over there on Twitch. You said, are we sure Patel is sober in this clip? Well, here's the thing. I don't think we are. And so much to the fact that FBI Director Kash Patel is suing The Atlantic, claiming false reporting about drinking and absences. Patel is seeking $250 million. So here we go. FBI Director Kash Patel filed a defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic and its reporter Sarah Fitzpatrick following the publication of an article on Friday alleging the director had a drinking problem that could pose a threat to national security. The magazine story, initially titled Kash Patel's erratic behavior could cost him his job, cited more than 24 anonymous sources expressing concern at Patel's, quote, conspicuous inebriation and unexplained absences that, quote, alarmed officials at the FBI and the Department of Justice. The article, which The Atlantic subsequently titled The FBI Director is MIA in its online version, reported that during Patel's tenure, the FBI had to reschedule early meetings as a result of his alcohol-fueled nights, and that Patel is often away or unreachable, delaying time-sensitive decisions needed to advance investigations. In the Atlantic story, the White House, the Department of Justice, and Patel denied the allegations. The article included a statement from the FBI attributed to Patel, print it, all false, I'll see you in court, bring your checkbook. The Atlantic story is a lie, Patel said in an interview with Reuters. They were given the truth before they published, and they chose to print falsehoods anyway. We stand by our reporting on Kash Patel, and we will vigorously defend The Atlantic and our journalists against this meritless lawsuit, The Atlantic said in a statement. Reuters could not independently establish the accuracy of the article or why the publication changed the title. Patel's complaint says that while The Atlantic is free to criticize the leadership of the FBI, they crossed the legal line by publishing an article replete with false and obviously fabricated allegations designed to destroy Director Patel's reputation and drive him from office. The problem is, he was supposedly doing security at the Olympics. All I saw of security was him drinking with the team. So where's the security? It's not a good look. We already know that you have used the jet, that you have previously complained about other FBI directors using the jet for personal means. We know he used the jet for personal means to fly himself to go see his young girlfriend's concerts because she's a musician. We know that. So we've seen you drinking when you were supposed to be doing security detail at the Olympics. Are we shocked? Are we shocked? Are we shocked? The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court for the District of Columbia, seeks $250 million in damages. The lawsuit alleges The Atlantic ignored the FBI's denials and did not respond to a Friday letter from Patel's lawyer Jesse Banal to senior editors and the Atlantic's legal department asking for more time to refute the 19 allegations the reporter told the FBI's press office she would be publishing. The letter, which Reuters has seen, was sent shortly before 4 p.m. on Friday, and the story was published 6:20 p.m., according to the complaint, where Reuters cannot establish how or if the Atlantic responded to Banal's request. The lawsuit alleges the publication acted with actual malice, a legal standard that requires public figures such as Patel to show the publisher knowingly printed false information or recklessly ignored doubts about its accuracy. Defendants' conscious decision to ignore the detailed, specific, and substantive refutations in the pre-publication letter and their refusal to give a reasonable amount of time for the FBI and Director Patel to respond is among the strongest possible evidence of actual malice, the lawsuit says. The lawsuit is the latest instance of a Trump administration figure suing a media outlet. A judge dismissed Trump's lawsuit against CNN for describing election denialism as the big lie. Judges also dismissed Trump's lawsuit against the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. Trump has refiled his lawsuit against the New York Times and may refile against the Wall Street Journal. He has also secured some settlements. Remember, settlements are not wins. That is just them deciding not to litigate in court. ABC News agreed to settle a case for $15 million plus $1 million in legal fees. Paramount Global agreed to pay $16 million for what the Trump administration called deceptive editing of a CBS News interview with his opponent in 2024 election, Kamala Harris. This one will also probably not go anywhere. My shocked face. Nobody's shocked. And here's just one little video just to show one man's Trump voters' sentiment. And this is just a small sample of what we've seen as a whole. It's not going well.
You know, you're not the only person that I've interviewed who told me that they voted for President Trump and now they're losing, or he's losing their support. Do you think other people are like you?
A lot of people. I know a lot of people like me who voted for him, and the opinion is now changing, and it's changing very fast. It is changing very fast, yeah. Because we vote a president to make our lives easier. It's like father of the nation. It turns out to be it's other way around. Like, it seems like more other benefits that we are not seeing for ourselves. I don't know where those benefits are for, or who those benefits are.
Chicky.
You know, you're not the only.
I never thought the leopards would eat my face. Bitch, we done told you. We done told you. Also, Roy, over in the YouTube chat, you said 13,000 Americans have lost their lives by illegal immigrants over the course of how many years? Because I know exactly which number you're talking about. Over the course of how many decades? Because when you say it like that, you cut off a very, very key piece, don't you? Don't you? Okay. But why don't we do that? We'll move on to immigration because it seems to be that Republicans are on both sides of that argument, which is interesting. House passes bill extending protections for Haitian migrants in the U.S. This happened on the 16th. We talked about it. I just didn't have the article up. The U.S. House voted on Thursday to extend temporary protected status for Haitian migrants through 2029, with several Republicans supporting the Democratic-endorsed measure to curb President Trump's immigration crackdown. The vote was split 224 to 204, with 10 Republicans joining the Democrats in approving the resolution. Representative Ayanna Pressley of Massachusetts, who led the effort, used a congressional procedure called a discharge petition to force a vote to the floor. If you're not familiar with the discharge petition, you should be. I guess you're not paying attention, because that's what we had to do with the Epstein files, because the Republicans and Mike Johnson were so unwilling to be transparent and honest and actually list out the Epstein files, even though Donald Trump said in an interview on Fox during the campaign that he would be willing to release them. They had to go around him. And the way to go around him, if Mike Johnson refuses to bring something on the floor for a vote, is a discharge petition. That is what they had to do. If you don't know about that, I guess you're not paying attention to politics. What the fuck are you doing here? So again, they had Republicans with them. They extended TPS for Haitian migrants in the U.S. That is a win. We will take that. Mike Lawler, who supported it, Mike Lawler is a piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit human being. If you ever hear him talk about human rights, he's a horrible fucking person. He supported this extension of TPS. And now he's on both sides of the argument. He's going to give you all the rhetoric we're used to hearing, and Tommy Lauren on Fox News, and another host, which I have the second clip of, also go after him for the rhetoric because it doesn't fit their Republican rhetoric that they have been told to push every single day. So they're going after him saying you're not being Republican enough. And it's interesting to watch him try to pretzel both sides of that argument.
Saw the result, a disaster at our southern border,
Congressman,
and Joe Biden allowing them all into our country.
Congressman, I totally understand what you
I
understand, Congressman, what you're saying here, but correct me if I'm wrong. It sort of sounds like you're saying that we must keep the world's people protected in this country until the world's problems are solved or until we go and solve the problems of other countries.
That's not what I said.
You said that we need to manage the hemisphere. We need to fix Haiti before the Haitians go back?
No. President Trump is saying we need to address the problems in our own hemisphere. Okay. And the administration is rightfully taking action, cracking down on the cartels in Mexico and beyond, going after Maduro in Venezuela. They have isolated Cuba. The fact is, Haiti has been a long-term ally, and we want stability on the ground in Haiti. The State Department itself is saying it is unsafe on the ground in Haiti. You have over 100,000 people working in our healthcare system to support Americans. This is not like they're just sitting here doing nothing. They are working in our healthcare system. I am saying deal with this.
You're right. I'm so glad that Mike Lawler appreciates hard-working immigrants just working for their families. Keep going, Mike.
Realistically, deal with it based on the merits of the situation. Every one of these cases should be heard. If somebody does not qualify and should not be in this country, the administration should move to deport them. If they are on TPS, revoke their TPS status. It happens every day. These cases are heard by an administrative judge, and that should continue. But for the people who are working in...
He's talking about doing the process correctly. Good for Mike.
In particular, in our healthcare system, what I am saying is allow them to continue working while their case is heard. So if TPS is...
Jedi, they can't work hard for their families in their country because their country is war-torn and fucked. A lot of the times because of us or other colonizing countries. That's why.
Thanks, America.
You think that... And Haiti particularly had a huge fucking earthquake in the 2000s, in the early 2000s, 2010s. And they've been trying to rebuild from that, but they have been in constant conflict down there as well, not just because of the earthquake.
Ended by the Supreme...
No, we're talking about the Haitian migrants specifically.
Court. They're going to hear the case in short order. If it is ended by the Supreme Court, what I'm saying is as these cases are heard, we want them to be able to continue to work to support the American people in our healthcare system. This is extremely complex. Everybody wants to just make this, very black or white and not recognize some of the nuance that does come into play when you're talking about people who have been in the country lawfully for upwards of 15 years, whether we agree.
Mike, nuance, the word you guys don't like, nuance. This is your guy. I hate him, actually. He's a terrible fucking person, but good for him for learning about nuance in regards to immigration. But all that rhetoric does is piss Fox News off more because their job is to glaze Trump's taint, and that's it, that's all. So, there you go. Guys, make sure we're tapping. We're almost to 50,000 likes over here. I do like to hit 50,000 likes before we hit the top of the hour. So if we could hit it 15 minutes before the top of the hour, that would be fucking wonderful. I would appreciate it. Guys, we have not touched my goal at all. Don't know what's going on. If we could get a $1 train, $2 train going, that would be fucking awesome. At least start to get it down a little bit. I would appreciate it. Yeah, oh yeah, Ari, that's what it is. It's not that he learned about nuance. He just learned about, oh shit, the midterms are coming. The midterms are coming. The midterms are coming. And the Republicans are going to get slaughtered.
Congressman, I hope you see the irony that so many of the talking points you just used are used by Democrats every single day to attack the Trump immigration agenda. And I say irony because I think you're very genuine in what you're saying. But how do you start this with supporting the president in his immigration agenda and then tell me that because your district has a specific group of people from a specific country that you rely on, that you want carve-outs? And let me ask, 315 100,000 Haitians here on this program, you say a third. So 100,000 of them are in the healthcare system. That's not to say if they're committing crimes or not. So are the other 200,000 worth keeping in the country? So you keep the 100,000 in the healthcare system? Or have you been to Juarez? Have you seen the Mexican people that are strung up by the cartels there and the war that is Mexico? You could use this exact same argument if the Biden administration had applied this to Mexican migrants for the millions of people from Mexico that are here, because they're working in industries that are incredibly important. We can't live if we don't eat, and they work on farms that produce food. So the righteousness of your argument doesn't necessarily address the fact that the Trump mandate for immigration is that if you came here illegally, or if you came here illegally and the Biden administration used their very bad policy to allow you to be here illegally, you still got to go back and try to come back in. Why does that work for Mexicans, Venezuelans, Colombians? There are a few countries that still have some exempt status. Why does it work for Chinese? I mean, you know,
But he's asking a good question. Now, granted, he is a Republican, so he's touting the Republican policy. But what he is saying is, how can Mike Lawler sit here with correct rhetoric in regards to Haiti and why Haiti has exemption and why they needed to push to continue Haiti's TPS status? Why is that okay? Whereas every other country we are seeing, people from Mexico, supposedly, even though Mexico's doing so much better, but people from Mexico and other countries who are not being allowed to be exempt in way of deportation, they're not being allowed to have TPS status. We are actively trying to remove their TPS status when they also come from countries experiencing these same things, similar things to what Haiti is going through. And that is what he's asking. Why is it different? How can you be on both sides of the argument and say these immigrants are coming in and ruining our country, but also these ones are fine? Yeah, it's a long-winded phrase to villainize immigrants, absolutely, but it's a valid question within that he doesn't realize he asked, which is you are villainizing one group, saving another group when this group is going through a similar thing. How can you square the circle on that?
Brutality of that government. Why would it work? Why does it work for Haitians only? Why is it only Haiti that it seems you and 6 or 7 of your colleagues take objection to? And the reason why I ask is you voted for the bill. So even though I understand the explanation you gave about if this, then that, at the end of the day, it was all or nothing, and you voted for all.
So the bottom line is two things can be true at the same time. The Biden administration's policies were an absolute disaster.
Which ones?
And our immigration system is fundamentally broken.
I agree. Let's fix it by funding immigration judges instead of firing them. Let's do that.
I have always said I am against illegal immigration. I have always said I want secure borders. I want people to come here legally and lawfully. TPS is intended to be temporary, primarily related to humanitarian relief. And in the case of Haiti, it has been significant. They've had multiple earthquakes and hurricanes. They've had political unrest. You have gangs in charge of the entire country. Sure. President Trump rightfully has made focusing on the Western Hemisphere a priority, and in particular going after the drug cartels. He has designated them as terrorist organizations. That is something I've advocated for years, because we're not able to import everybody. We're not able to have everybody come here. We are a generous people, but we have to take care of the American people first. At the same token, if you have a situation on the ground in these countries in our hemisphere and we are doing nothing about it with our allies or cracking down on the drug cartels who are engaged in human trafficking and drug trafficking, then we saw the result, a disaster at our southern border and Joe Biden allowing them all into our country.
And my guess is that she goes on the rant that we just saw. You're sitting here on both sides of the argument now. It's very interesting way to do things. Okay. Oh, 1 second. Maybe it's because men are on. We have a theory. Yep, there are multiple men on. Maybe that's why. It's that kind of a day. Okay. Let's move on to this fraud portion that I have not been able to get to for a while. So let me bring this up. So, they've been talking about fraud within the Medicare Medicaid system for a while. And the problem is, Trump administration admits a glaring error in its New York health fraud accusations. President Donald Trump's administration this week acknowledged it made a significant error in figures it used to help justify a fraud probe into New York's Medicaid program, a glaring mistake that undercuts a federal campaign to tackle waste, mostly in Democratic-led states. The error, which the administration admitted first to the Associated Press, prompted health analysts to question how many of the Republican administration's sweeping anti-fraud efforts around the country were based on faulty findings, one of a few mischaracterizations it made about New York's Medicaid program. It also reflected a common criticism that's been made by Trump's second administration, that it tends to attack first and confirm the facts later. This is y'all. I guess luckily they confirm later. They just hide that under wraps. You guys don't confirm anything. You tell me to look it up. You tell me to do my research, even though this is your fucking claim, and you've never read anything. You just believe what Trump tells you and what his admin tells you because you like to be cucks and glazed taints. Cool. Quote, these numbers could have been cleared up in a phone call, so it's really slapdash, said Fiscal Policy Institute senior health policy advisor Michael Kinnuchan, whose recent analysis called attention to the Trump administration's inaccurate claim. The mistake appeared in comments made last month by Dr. Mehmet Oz, the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, in a social media video and in a letter to New York's Democratic governor announcing the fraud investigation. Oz claimed that New York's Medicaid program last year provided some 5 million people with personal care services, which assist people in need with basic activities like bathing, grooming, and meal prep. That would add up to nearly 3/4 of the state's 6.8 million Medicaid enrollees. That level of utilization is unheard of, Oz said in the video, adding in his post that New York needs to come clean about its Medicaid program. But the real number of New Yorkers who used those services last year was about 450,000. Remember, he said 5 million, from 5 million to 450,000, or between 6% or 7% of enrollees. CMS spokesperson Chris Krepek told the AP this week. He said the agency misidentified New York's approach by applying billing codes and had since refined its methodology. CMS is committed to ensuring its analysis fully reflects state-specific billing practices and will continue to work closely with New York to validate data and strengthen program integrity oversight. Again, we saw something similar to this when we talked about CMS when we watched that 40-minute long Nick Shirley video about hospice, which I haven't even gotten to do an update on, which is the fact that CBS did a story about that I want to say upwards of a year before Nick Shirley even did his fucking bullshit. The state of California stopped issuing licenses in either 2022 or 2023. They stopped issuing licenses for people to be able to do hospice care insurance. They had already done that. This was 2022 or 2023, I can't remember which year, which would have been either 3 or 4 years before Nick Shirley even did his stupid fucking video. Also, Nick Shirley was accusing people of fraud who were not talking to CMS. He did not prove that they were receiving Medicaid funds and said that they weren't listed under CMS. Of course they wouldn't be listed under CMS because that is the Medicaid system. If you are an insurance that is private, you are not reporting to CMS if you are not getting CMS money. Stupid. But again, California already saw that this was going on and already started fucking handling it 3 or 4 years ago. You guys didn't know. Nick Shirley didn't know. You guys are just brand fucking new to shit. You don't research. Okay? CMS is committed to ensuring its analysis fully reflects state-specific billing practices and will continue to work closely with New York to validate data and strengthen program intensity oversight. Krepek said the probe was ongoing as the administration still has concerns with New York's oversight of personal care services in the Medicaid program and is reviewing the state's response to last month's letter. Totally fine. I want to see reform. I want to see oversight. Not an issue there. I would never say that people are not trying to scam the system because there's always somebody trying to scam the system. CMS had raised other flags about New York's program, including that it spends more per beneficiary and per resident than the average state, has high personal care spending, and employs so many personal care aides that the job category is now the largest in the state. Health analysts said the state's high spending reflected both high costs for services in New York and policy choice to provide robust at-home care. Cadence Acquaviva, senior public information officer for the New York Department of Health, called Oz's initial mischaracterizations a targeted attempt to obscure the facts. So again, there's an entire article about this, okay? They were trying to halt, as part of their fraud probe, $243 million in Medicaid funding to Minnesota. And then the state is suing because guess what? You don't get to unilaterally decide that. If Congress does the money, that's it. Oz made more claims, but again, you went from 5 million to 450,000. They like to lie to you about the amount that is happening, and you guys just eat it up. You eat it the fuck up. Okay, we didn't get a chance to cover this, but there was reporting about sweeping pardons that he might give before he leaves office.
We have new reporting shedding light on President Trump's view of his pardon power. The Wall Street Journal reports the president has repeatedly raised the idea of sweeping pardons from members of his own administration before leaving office, saying in a recent meeting, quote, "I'll pardon everyone who has come within 200 feet of the Oval," according to people with knowledge of these comments. He's already issued more than 1,600 pardons this term, mostly for January 6 defendants. We have new reporting shedding.
So the problem that we have is that he's probably, and I have said this before, I said it about Biden, I will continue to say it. I don't like the pardon power. I think it's way too sweeping. I don't like it. Don't like it under any president. I don't think you should be able to do ones preemptively. So that's the reporting that we're getting. Saying that he'll issue pardons at the end of his presidential term. He's reportedly said he will issue pardons en masse to his closest advisors at the end of his second presidency, promising them in casual conversations over the last year. "I'll pardon everyone who has come within 200 feet of the Oval Office," the president reportedly said in a recent meeting, garnering laughs from the room, according to the Wall Street Journal report, citing an anonymous source. So again, anonymous source, we don't have proof of this. Would I be surprised? No, because we've seen him pardon friends. We've seen him pardon 1,500 individuals in regards to January 6th, and we've seen that many of them have been arrested again since then for other things. So there's that. And then we'll get to Ossoff talking about those pardons specifically. Yeah, that Blue, it's stuff like that that I always think about. I literally always think about the line in Titanic where she says they'll now adjourn to the smoking room where they'll talk about being masters of the universe. Just rich men smoking cigars, having brandy, not giving a fuck.
Now, I don't know if you saw, but the president apparently promised pardons for the entire White House staff. Did y'all see that? Which I guess is the kind of thing you do when you run the White House like a casino.
Too big for you. Yes, I do know about AB 2624. That is the one that they are colloquially, that's not the name, but they are colloquially calling the Stop Nick Shirley Act. That's not what it is. What it does is ensure that people cannot be harassed and that their private business information and their names cannot be given out. Anything that's not public record, that they cannot be given out, because there is stuff that Nick Shirley gives out that is not actually stuff he should be able to find. So it's interesting that he finds it and gives it out. So it's just about protecting people. Granted, these people need to be investigated if they were involved in some sort of fraud, but we don't dox them.
Now, maybe the West Wing's too busy placing Kalshi and poly-market bets on the war to care, but Americans are getting hurt. Hurt by the illegal tariffs that send prices higher and higher, by skyrocketing health premiums, by $4.
Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for? Okay.
Gas. Hurt by insurance companies that deny claims for needed care. Hurt by the hedge funds snatching up tens of thousands of homes across our state. Hurt by the data centers driving up power bills. And so when you're out there talking to folks over the next 6 months, remind them what the President of the United States said last week. Quote, "It's not possible," he said, for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, or Medicare. That's what the president said. He said we can only afford to fund war. And then 2 days later released his budget demanding we increase Pentagon spending to $1.5 trillion per year, paid for by ending the program that helps millions afford utility bills, by canceling affordable housing programs, and by cutting cancer research.
Leftist best politics. So you said, so no tax on seniors is an idea that hasn't passed, right? An actual bill they proposed, no. They talk about all the time, no tax on Social Security. That's not true. There is still a tax on Social Security. There's just, I think it was a reduction. There was a specific change, but it's still being taxed. So that was a lie that they touted for a long time. Again, remember we talked about last week how they're trying to rename the Big Beautiful Bill Act. They're trying to call it the Working Families Tax Cut Act, which is not its fucking name.
All this just
Blue states blocked what, Austin?
1 year after they sent insurance premiums skyrocketing and gutted Medicaid to cut taxes for the rich. This is their answer to America's cost of living crisis. This is their answer to the Savannah nurse working a double shift whose utilities are about to get.
Thank you, Ari. It was a $6,000 deduction for seniors, but they have to pay that out of Social Security. Thank you.
Shut off. The Tift County farmer getting crushed by the trade war and now diesel and now fertilizer. The family in College Park skipping doctor's visits because premiums are just too high. In Donald Trump's America, the rich get tax cuts, the well-connected get stock tips, and everybody else makes sacrifices. But Americans have seen through this scam, and it's up to Georgia Democrats to end it. Are you ready to win, Georgia Democrats?
I love the way Ossoff speaks, personally. I just do. And then, in way of more fraud, Todd Blanche comes out. He is the acting AG, remember, because Pam Bondi got fired. She went back to the private sector. She got fucking fired. Todd Blanche comes out and admits that it is his job to look into, Sunkiss, I know. It is his job to look into whoever Donald Trump wants him to. It's actually not his job. Even though, yes, he is appointed, he then gets confirmed by the Senate. It wouldn't be him. It was Pam Bondi. Again, he is just acting while they figure out who they're going to put in there. We'll see how long he is acting for. It's a long time that he's allowed to be. It's a whole thing. But it is still supposed to be an independent agency. Their job is just to look into crime, not to look into who the president wants you to. And this is just blatant. It just shows you that this was all about retribution. This was all about fascism, and that he wanted somebody in here who would go after his enemies, even if they've done nothing legally wrong.
Do you feel like that's not happening here? I guess I'm curious how you see the relationship between the White House and the DOJ. If the president comes to you and says, hey, I think you should look into X, Y, and Z person, do you see it as your role to do that?
Of course. If you came to me and said, hey.
Do you feel like that's...
Of course. No, not of course. It's not your job to do that, actually. It's literally not. Your job is to investigate crime, but not on behest of the president. So here is Jim McGovern talking about what we all know, which is a problem with insider trading and specifically insider betting. We have seen this multiple times. We've seen it most recently. I'm seeing the reports about this constant market manipulation about Iran. That you have brand new companies coming out that have never existed before, taking bets and shorting on what is going on with Iran. Yeah, Kayla, ask Pelosi. You're right. You want me to go into the history of that? Pelosi has been accused of insider trading for decades. If there is a proof of a crime, go after her. I would love for you guys to do that. I have no problem with that. I am no Nancy Pelosi fan. Her husband used to work in stocks. He was very good at trading, so she probably took his advice on stuff. Now, did she insider trade? Maybe. Go get her. What else happened? Oh, Josh Hawley of Missouri actually came out with what was called the Pelosi Act. He named it that he was going to introduce into Congress, which would make it so that no member of Congress, nobody, would be able to trade stocks. I fully supported that. And guess what? Pelosi supported it too, such to the point that they actually renamed the act when they reintroduced it, and they called it the Honest Act. And what that would then do, because Pelosi actually co-signed with Josh Hawley, a Republican, and said, let's do this. I agree. No person who works in Congress, in the government, should be able to trade stocks. I agree with you. And so the Honest Act came out, and what that would have done is it would have forced any person who is in Congress, including the president, to not be able to trade stocks. Donald Trump called Josh Hawley and said, hey, this is great. Awesome. Cool. Can you make it any president from after me, though? After me, though. So all of you, it would have been Congress who was sitting, except not President Trump. It would have been any president after President Trump. Why? I wonder why specifically Donald Trump wanted himself removed from that.
I just want to ask a couple of basic questions here. Mr. Chairman, would you say that the two biggest prediction markets, Kalshi and Polymarket, are competing with one another? I mean, they're competitors, right?
I believe all market participants are in competition.
So I take it as a yes. And as competitors in the same field, it would stand to reason then that they're trying to gain an advantage over one another. That's what competitors do, right?
That's what competition is.
I'm not angry, OS. I don't take hypocrisy. If you want to go after Pelosi, please do it. Find a crime that she committed and go get her. But hold the same standard to Donald Trump and his family and the people within his cabinet who are also insider trading. That's all. I don't like hypocrisy. I have no problem with banning people who work in the government from being able to trade stocks. I think that's true because these people actually effectuate the outcomes of the stock market every time. Because it's a rumor market, it's a projection market. Everything they say, everything they introduce onto the floor, that includes the president, when he says shit out of his mouth, it affects the market. So I don't think they should be able to trade in that market that they effectuate, that they affect. I'm sorry if I'm using too big of words for you. But I don't want to hear the name Pelosi if you're not going to say the same about people like Steve Witkoff, about people like Howard Lutnick, about people like Donald Trump. I don't want to hear it if you're not going to hold the same standard. This is not anger. It is just that I hold all of their feet to the fire. You guys don't.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, are you aware that President Trump's son,
thank you,
Donald
XW
Trump Jr.,
Tappers,
has been hired as an advisor for both Kalshi and Polymarket, two competing companies?
And the betting market is a huge problem because it doesn't even count under our same regulations. It is so unregulated. This is fucking gambling. This is fucking betting. And there is no fucking regulation for it. None. It is a problem. It needs to be regulated.
Congressman, I'm aware of this.
And would you say that it's accurate then that the Trump family has a financial stake in how these prediction markets are regulated?
Congressman, I believe this hypothetical that you're trying to engage in is a political
I don't know
exercise.
how this is hypothetical. The president's son is, involved with both of these companies. I mean, he makes a lot of money for it, but of course they have a financial interest in all of this. I mean, the president's son is on the board of both multi-billion-dollar prediction market companies. So it seems to me like the only reason two competing companies hired the same person is because they think he must be really, really, really valuable. I mean, and I wonder why they would think that, right? I mean, but Mr. Selig, has anybody in the White House ever asked or insinuated that you should drop the CFTC's probe into Polymarket?
Congressman, we treat all market participants alike. We do not pick winners and losers or engage in favoritism or bring politics into any of these matters. We take them very seriously, and I think it's insulting that you're insinuating that we would
No,
play
I'm worried because
games.
it smells like corruption, right?
What he's talking about is that Don Jr., Donald Trump's son, is on the board and an advisor to both Kalshi and Polymarket, two competing betting companies. While his father, okay, because remember, Don Jr. and Eric are the ones in charge of the company right now. It's not Trump, it's them. And they have made over $4 billion in 1 year. He is an advisor on both betting boards, while his father is the one who can influence what happens in those markets. Do we not smell corruption anywhere in that? You guys wanted to cry and cry and cry about Hunter Biden using his name and nepotism of his name to get a job at Burisma. You guys don't know anything about Burisma. You get that conversation wrong every single time. But you cried about that. You cried about the fact that the only reason he was able to sell art was because his name is Biden. Sure, cool. Nepotism exists in this country. I agree. It's bad. Suck it. Hate it. Can we call the same out for the fact that Don Jr. is on betting markets, 2 competing betting markets, and his dad influences those betting markets?
I'll be honest with you. Mrs. Seelig, back to something you said about prediction markets and going after insider trading. You said in your testimony just now that anyone who engages in fraud, manipulation, or insider trading in any of our markets will face the full force of the law. And just before 7 a.m. on Monday, March 23rd, someone placed roughly $500 million in oil and equities future trades, betting that oil prices would plummet and the market would rally. And at 7:04 a.m., President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social that the U.S. had begun ceasefire talks. Now, whoever placed that bet knew what the president was about to post and made a lot of money off of that, Are you, Mrs. Seelig, you and I both know that the odds of that bet is like 1 billion to 1. And I have one example after another of similar bets. There was no public information about ceasefire talks. These are decisions that are made in the White House at the highest levels, decisions that very, very, very few people know about until the president posts them. So yes or no, Mr. Seelig, do you think the president's top staff would have that knowledge about a ceasefire?
Congressman, as I said in my opening statement, we have a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to fraud, abusive trading practices, and manipulation, and anyone who engages in that behavior will face the full force of the law.
Do you think the president's family would have knowledge of that? Like, what about Donald Trump Jr.? Do you think he would have known that maybe an announcement of a ceasefire was coming?
Congressman, I'm not going to play speculation games with you, but I will tell you that we have a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to fraud, manipulation, insider trading, and we will bring actions against
yes
those
or
who
no,
engage in that behavior.
Are you aware of public reporting that the net worth of the Trump family, meaning President Trump and his immediate family members, has gone up by $1.4 billion since he took office a little over a year ago? Because it has. And I believe that this president is using public power for private profit. And I think he and his family are lining their pockets with insider information. And I think Donald Trump Jr. is trading his access for money. And I think it's the definition of corruption. And I think that your actions to deregulate this market are helping them do it. And I think it is wrong. And I think it's something that this committee needs to pay much more attention to. With that, I yield back my time.
Why is this not a big deal to you? You guys talk about fraud, waste, and abuse. Fraud above all. Fraud above all. I agree. Let's go get fraud. Why don't you start at the top? With the person who keeps pardoning it? With the person whose kids keep fucking... his kids keep fucking making money off of it? And I agree, leftist bestest. I think that any progressive candidate needs to run on some form of legislation to stop it. Anybody who goes against that, I don't care what party line you fall on, I have an issue with you. That should just be a fucking no-brainer. So we're going to play this. It's about 8.5 minutes long. So while it's playing, if I'm not stopping to talk about it, I would appreciate it if we could keep doing the good things, please. If we could tap that screen and try to hit 100,000 likes before we end today. If we could share the live out if you haven't already. Again, you can repost it. You can add it to your story. I have the 30 little donuts up there. If one person says 10 donuts, it will light up in my gift gallery, and that would also be wonderful. I would appreciate it. Guys, we haven't touched my goal at all. I've been on for an hour. I know Santana Montana was just on. I know that Matt and Nemo were talking to Raymond. I don't know why the fuck we still talk to Raymond, and yeah, I'm gonna fucking say that. I guess we don't listen to women like Ash when they talk about people that we banned for a reason because they're fucking harmful, but albeit to me, it's not my fucking money, but you see what it is. Men be doing men shit. Anyway, you don't want to support women, that's cool. I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. We're gonna keep watching the fucking news. Whatever. It annoys the fuck out of me. Yeah, and I said what the fuck I said. Literally, Ash made that fucking video not even a day ago. Why are we still talking to these people? So this is about 8.5 minutes long. It's from PBS NewsHour talking about the conflicts of interest. Again, fraud. The conflicts of interest within this administration that is a fucking problem. And people like Jared Kushner specifically. And so I thought it was very, very informational. I think we needed it. I know Eclipses. I know that it was on a panel. But the amount of times I've seen themselves talk to RC, that's on them on their own. That's not just because it was somebody else's panel.
If anyone talks to people like RC or you see Hoodlum or people like that, there are reasons why people don't get platformed anymore. And anyone who still platforms with people needs to rethink the people they surround themselves with.
Yeah, Eclipses, I've got you. No. If all you have is taps, do the tapping. I'm just saying, I'm tired of these fucking men who have full-time jobs, who are not fucking struggling, reaching goals over and over and over. And this is my job. Whatever. Anyway.
This past weekend, as top American representatives descended upon Pakistan for peace talks with Iran, the U.S. team, led by Vice President J.D. Vance and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff, also included the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. He's emerged as one of the administration's...
Bruce, if you're going to call me a douche, use the right use of your, please. Y-O-U-R implies possession. You mean Y-O-U apostrophe R-E.
key foreign policy advisors, even though the White House confirms he holds no official government position.
Technically, I have not joined the administration, so I'm still just a volunteer like other business.
Oh, user, if PBS sucks so bad, listen to Jared Kushner's own words. He is not a part of the administration officially.
Who...
And yet remember that this man is over there doing negotiations with Iran. Doesn't work for the administration, just a private citizen talking to foreign nations.
Who volunteer to help the government when asked.
A volunteer tasked with negotiating sensitive matters of war and peace. His full-time job is running a multi-billion-dollar venture capital firm, Affinity Partners. And that company has raised billions of dollars almost entirely from the Middle East, the same region where Kushner is currently negotiating on behalf of the president. Kushner founded Affinity Partners in
Bruce, you still use the wrong your, sweetheart.
2021, after the first Trump administration and when his role as an official White House advisor had ended. Maureen Farrell with the New York Times has been tracking his business deals.
He had a close relationship with Mohammed bin Salman during the first Trump administration. Very shortly after he left the administration, Jared Kushner went back to Saudi Arabia, this time as a fundraiser. And Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, or PIF, invested $2 billion into Jared Kushner's.
Now remember that? We talk about it all the time. $2 billion from the Saudis that Jared Kushner got personally. That is private fucking money that he got as he worked. That was the first administration when he did work under the administration officially, and yet privately, he got $2 billion from the Saudis, in case you didn't fucking know. Carlos, somebody had asked about this specifically, about why didn't Donald Trump go? Something could go boom. Yes, that's literally the reason. I actually, as much as I fucking hate Donald Trump, any president, it would be a really, really bad decision for them to go and negotiate on their own. They're not supposed to. That's not their job. It's really not their job to negotiate face-to-face like that. That's why you have a Secretary of State who didn't go, which is very interesting. Marco Rubio should have been there. I don't even care that they sent Vance. I said this last week. I don't care that they sent Vance. You can absolutely do that. He talks in a capacity as a voice for the president, right? And his wants and his needs. But that's literally the Secretary of State's job. Marco Rubio should have gone. He should have been there. Witkoff could be there too because he is an envoy to the Middle East. But it makes no sense for Jared Kushner to be there at all. And it makes no sense that Marco Rubio wasn't there. But yeah, the president himself, I would never expect to go to those kind of negotiations. That's why he has a cabinet. It's delegation.
Investment fund.
When Trump returned to the White House in January 2025, Kushner and his wife Ivanka Trump did not come back to Washington. But then last summer, Kushner was dispatched by the president to work on the war in Gaza. He and Witkoff met with regional leaders and successfully brokered a peace agreement to end the fighting and secure the release of hostages. After that deal was struck in October, Kushner was asked during a 60 Minutes interview about his potential conflicts of interest. He said in part,
"What people call conflicts of interest, Steve and I call experience and trusted relationships that we have throughout the world. If Steve..."
Thank you, Carlos, for the laughing disco for the jewels. You're saying that, like, he stopped 10 wars. I know. He stopped all the wars as he starts them. We love that. We love to see that. As we get into this, I wasn't trying to bully you guys like that. And the people who support are the people who support. And I love you guys and know that I know who you are. I just mean broadening our horizons, it gets very frustrating. But big W's. It works for Sparky, and we do. We love that little kink about you, Sparky. We do. But also, you're a very, very good boy. W's to Sparky for the 50 on the PayPal. Sparky says, "Yelling at me works, I guess." So, well,
We love you so much, Sparky. As much shit as I give you, like, you legitimately, you're one of the only reasons
he
why I
likes
get
it.
that. I mean, that could be it. And yes, you can take Manny to Nobu, only if I get to hold his hand and I sit in the middle.
there you go. You can do it that way.
I will sit in the middle.
And thank you, Juicy Juice Godfrey. W's to Juicy Juice Godfrey for the $10 on the because I listen to women, and I know you do, and that's what I mean by the supporters who are supporting in here. Whether you are Juicy Juice is usually my lovely Dollar Train person, and I appreciate you for that. The people who do support, I know that you're here, and I know that you stay. And when we are sitting at 60 viewers, you are still here, and just know that I see you, and know that I love you, and know that I appreciate you. It just gets rough when it is.
Fine, Sparky, god damn it.
Sit on the other side of the table. It's crazy. You can't even.
Fine.
You gotta sit. You're gonna be on the other side of the booth.
He's gonna put me on the other side of the fucking rush.
I don't know if Nobu has booths. I don't know. That's that fancy. Isn't that's
I'm
the one that
playing
Robert De
footsies.
Niro owns, right? Or he used to.
Yeah, I'm playing footsies with him.
With Sparky?
No, I'm gonna play footsie with Manny. Not
I
Sparky.
wasn't sure. You can do both of them. You have 2 feet.
I'm not. No, I don't play footsies with other men.
Y'all back up off my man.
I'm sorry.
Who's your man?
Sparky.
I mailed him a bagel.
No, you didn't.
You called him a bagel?
No, he wanted me to mail him a bagel, so I was like, I just slapped stamps on it and wrote your address on the back.
Crazy.
I don't think that's
Have
how
a
you mail
box.
bagels. Didn't you used to work for the post office?
Yes.
Yeah, they would actually send the bagel if the stamp stayed on.
I know
I
there's
wouldn't
more
eat
than
the-
one Nobu, Mary. It's just the closest one to Olive is probably New York.
Yeah, there's
Oh,
definitely
fucking
not a
close nearby.
Nashville Nobu.
There's not shit here.
You guys have Rainforest Cafe, though, don't you?
Do you think I go outside?
That place is badass.
a lot
There's
of
like
people have
animatronic
Rainforest
monkeys and
Cafe,
stuff.
Yeah.
They closed ours.
I think there's one in San Diego when I was looking, but I don't know that I want to spend that when we spending on the zoo. Hi, Whiskey.
No, for some crappy food.
Mhm.
What the?
I lit a candle.
Oh, it's just the lighting.
I lit a candle, and Whiskey is so like entertained by it.
He's probably concerned you're going to burn the house down.
No.
Those are my red dogs. Sorry.
Look at this boy. Look at this very well. I have a candle lit.
That is 3 candles, ma'am.
No, those are 3 wicks. I got big wick energy.
three big wick energy. God.
Big Wick energy is crazy.
Okay.
All right.
Now, if you're gonna start sniffing the fire, it's gonna be a problem, Cat.
Yeah, no, then he'll have to get away from it. But yeah, so thank you. W's to Sparky and W's to Juicy Juice Godfrey. I appreciate you guys. Remember, Linktree in my bio has my Cash App, my Venmo, my PayPal. We will continue with Jared Kushner. I didn't think the devil could take a picture. That's a great freeze frame also, by the way. I love the scowl face that we've got going on with Jared Kushner. And we will keep going with him. I'll go back a little bit. So
Did you see the arch in his eyebrow?
It's Botox wasn't Botoxing anymore. Ugh.
After that deal was struck in October, Kushner was asked during a 60 Minutes interview about his potential conflicts of interest. He said in part,
"What people call conflicts of interest, Steve and I call experience and trusted relationships that we have throughout the world. If Steve and I didn't have these deep relationships, the deal that we were able to help get done that freed these hostages would not have occurred."
2 months later, Kushner and Witkoff traveled to Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin to discuss a ceasefire in the war with Ukraine.
What continues to amaze me is...
And earlier this year, Kushner accompanied his father-in-law during a trip to Davos, Switzerland for the high-flying World Economic Forum, a who's who of business elites and world leaders. In a regulatory filing last month, Kushner's affinity partners reported more than $6.1 billion in assets. About 99% of those assets belong to non-U.S. investors, with most of the funds tied to Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Qatar. And Affinity Partners was looking to raise more. Farrell was first to report in the New York Times in March that Kushner had held preliminary talks with the Saudis about raising billions of additional dollars for Affinity Partners.
He's out there negotiating peace deals with governments, working with various governments in the Middle East. He's already been working with them in the private sector, investing their funds and getting big fees from these governments. So it raises...
Sorry, TikTok. I saw it do it. It was like reconnecting on my screen. I don't know why. I'm literally, again, on my brother's computer, and it is directly tied to the Ethernet cord, so we shouldn't be on Wi-Fi. So I don't know why it was doing that. I apologize.
There's all sorts of questions about who is he working for? How does he draw the lines as this is all happening?
In a statement to PBS NewsHour, Affinity Partners acknowledged Kushner did speak with Saudi Arabia's public investment fund about raising new money, but only because it has an agreement to give the Saudis right of first refusal. Quote, Affinity had early conversations with its anchor investor and does not intend to take any additional capital while Jared is volunteering for the government. An SEC-registered investment firm, Affinity has abided by all laws and regulations and will continue to do so. As a
Oh, Raina, that's actually hilarious. He kind of does look like what you said, the gentleman from that episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where they take the voices and the hearts. I think actually he just kind of looks like when they are in their vampire form, right? Their face like fucking changes. I actually think he kind of just looks like that.
Government volunteer and not an employee, Kushner is exempt from the usual financial disclosure laws. But Democratic members of Congress are still pressing the administration to answer whether Kushner is using his influence for personal financial gain. In a March 19th letter to the White House, Senator Ron Wyden and Representative Robert Garcia wrote, quote, his actions raise the potential for Mr. Kushner to be subject to conflicts of interest, which could threaten the security of the American people. And Kushner isn't the only member of the Trump family expanding their business interests. In their father's first term, President Trump's sons, Don Jr. and Eric, mostly focus on managing the family business, the Trump Organization's portfolio of hotels, golf resorts, and other real estate. But not anymore. Kyle Kahn-Mullins is a reporter for Forbes.
What changed?
Yeah, I don't know if they'll get into that terrible times. Jared's dad is also a piece of fucking shit. Horrible landlord, slumlord person, absolutely terrible. Yeah, he definitely was. I think he was pardoned by Trump actually, and he is now, the ambassador to France. Yeah.
Well, what changed is that Donald Trump won the White House again, and the Trumps have kind of stopped caring about the appearance of conflicts of interest.
He has said since 2024, the Trump sons have been aggressively investing in a host of emerging technologies, like cryptocurrency, where deregulation has significant...
pardon by Trump law, you are correct. I'm going to say King Dio, because I believe that is you, King Dio. I don't want to dox you. So I appreciate you. W's to King Dio for going and getting those links in the bio for the 10 on Green App for entertainment. Thank you, King Dio. I appreciate you.
Boosted the Trump sons' fortunes. But it's a handful of other new business ventures that have been raising the most attention lately. As the war in Iran escalated in the past month, the urgent need for the U.S. to scale up its drone technology came into sharper focus. We learned Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump have invested in at least 3 drone companies since 2024. The most recent deal involves drone maker Power Us, which announced last month it would merge with a golf course holding company backed by the Trump sons, with plans to create a new publicly traded company. As Power Us looks to expand it.
Thank you for calling the stream. Can I get your age, state, and who you voted for?
32. My name is John. Voted for Trump.
What state did you vote in?
Texas.
Okay. Why are you still supporting Trump?
Well, I really am not. It's just more of right now, kind of really giving up on the government system, you know.
What changed for you?
But well, just a lot of personal growth, I guess. I don't know.
Sure. No, you're okay. You're okay.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I'm just saying, yeah. But no, I definitely just called to say hi and enjoy your show during lunch every now and then. So.
Well, I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Yeah. And so definitely, my thoughts have kind of changed. Definitely, it's more of just the whole government thing. It's a little crazy, you know, and so whichever side you support, there's always good and bad, right? But
of course,
I think just the system overall is pretty crazy. So
yeah, I think we need to move to progressive policies. It's not about being democratic or being Democrat. It is progressive policies to move us forward. I think this idea of keeping us in the past is going to destroy us, like it's destroyed many countries throughout history. And I think, yeah, the only way is going to be to move forward.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of change coming, and hopefully it's good, right? Whichever way it goes to. And so, definitely.
Do you plan to vote in your midterms?
You know? Yeah, locally, I do. The place where I live, the county I live in, you know, it's a good county, but definitely very, very strong right, hard right,
sure,
you know, area. So, definitely would be cool to see change, but it's hard to see that in this county.
It is, and it's gonna, and it's gonna take work. But you know, slowly but surely, you do start to see small things as long as you're participating.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see probably like more libertarian or like other views. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, but yeah. But yeah, definitely just called for that, and yeah, good luck.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Appreciate it. Later.
Bye. Honestly, I'll take that. Moving more libertarian in places like Texas to me is actually, I know it doesn't sound like it, but to me that is moving more progressive, because if you follow Rand Paul, I disagree with Rand Paul on a lot of issues in way of he's very tough on wanting to cut spending and cutting spending on programs. And I have issue with that. And I take issue with that, and I'll debate that all day long. But he is, most of the time, they tend to be very contextualist. If they're real libertarians, I would call Rand Paul a real libertarian, and that they're textualists in way of their constitution and how they follow the constitution. And so I would take that over the fascism that we're seeing. As long as we're starting to get candidates in, even if they're Republican, that are no longer glazing Trump's taint, like, we'll take it. We will absolutely take it. Are you guys arguing with Jesus in the chat in YouTube? I do love that.
Wait, Jesus is over there?
King Jesus coming soon. I guess I didn't know Jesus had a new movie coming out and it's coming soon. I didn't get to see the trailer. Did anybody get to see the trailer? I didn't get to see it.
Our God.
I love the Lord.
All right, back to the corruption that is especially Donald Trump's children or children-in-law, but specifically here, Donald Trump's children getting in with a drone company and getting government contracts. So now he's just funneling money into his own kids and his company's pockets through the DOD. We love that.
To military drone technology, it will compete for government contracts under the Pentagon.
Mike, you said Jesus is in office right now. That's wild. You should get some help. You should probably read your Bible and learn about false idols. That's a one-way ticket to hell. Good for you, Mike.
$1.1 billion drone dominance initiative, after the Trump administration in December banned all new foreign-made drones, citing national security. Power Us has also been pitching drone interceptors to several Gulf nations to help them ward off Iranian drone attacks, positioning Power Us and the Trump sons to potentially profit from a war their father began. And as that war continues to spike global energy prices, the Trump sons' investment in nuclear fusion power has gained attention too.
The Trump Media and Technology Group is announcing plans to merge with TAE Technologies. That is a fusion power company.
Which we did talk about about a month ago or so, but I just said a concerned citizen said women for the draft. How about we just get rid of the draft? Concerned? How about you just do that? Weirdo.
Women can already enlist. Like, what do you mean?
Right. We don't sign up for selective service. That's not something we do. But again, we didn't set that system up, and I would just remove it for everybody. That would be my solution, is that you don't have to do selective service.
I never ran for office, Black Jesus son.
I didn't think you did, but you know.
Late last year, President Trump's social media company, in which his son, Don Jr., is a member of the board, agreed to merge with TAE Technologies in a deal that would create one of the first publicly traded nuclear fusion companies. The deal is valued at more than $6 billion. The company said they intend to begin construction on the first utility-scale fusion power plant later this year. But first, TAE needs to prove fusion power can work at scale. Scientists have spent decades trying to harness fusion, the process that powers the sun, and progress has been incremental at best. Don Jr. has also taken an active role in a range of business activities that fall outside the scope of the Trump Organization. Since 2024, he has joined the boards of 4 companies and has been named an advisor to 6 others.
Why do you think he's involved with so many different organizations and businesses?
So Don Jr., he's a man in demand. He has always been the more politically active, more politically connected of the 2 brothers. So if you're a company that's looking to get into the good graces of the federal government, why would you not hire the president's outspoken son?
While they sometimes appear at White House events, Eric and Donald Trump Jr. are not government officials and are not subject to federal ethics rules or disclosure requirements.
They certainly do have a right to be making a living. That's absolutely true. What the second Trump administration has kind of revealed is that all those ethics rules have turned out to be a little bit like the Pirates Code from Pirates of the Caribbean, more like guidelines than actual rules.
Without those rules, the president's son-in-law and his 2 oldest sons have seen their fortunes dramatically increase.
Forbes estimated that the Trump brothers, Eric and Don Jr., they were worth about $40–50 million each before the 2024 election. About a year later, we valued Eric at $400 million and Donald Trump Jr. at about $300 million. So they both multiplied their wealth many times over.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Liz Landers.
Why doesn't that fraud bother you? I see you guys arguing about God, but you're not mad about this fraud that's being done by this fucking family? You don't have any issues with that at all? You know. Interesting. Okay, where do I want to move to? I got like 20 minutes left. I guess we'll get to Iran as best we can. Now remember, again, with the market manipulation, let's go right off of the edges of fraud and go into the market manipulation, which was that Donald Trump says there was a ceasefire and it's going to be fine. And this was, again, before market close, so that the markets looked good. It fell, gas fell, or oil fell, excuse me. Where are we at right now? We're back up to 89. Lovely. Love to see that. I do keep a little window over here. Sometimes I show it to you guys. Sometimes I don't. Why? Well, that very next day. It's market manipulation because the very next day, Iran fires on ships in Strait of Hormuz as Tehran imposes restrictions again. April 18th. So that was Saturday. Iran reversed course on reopening the Strait of Hormuz Saturday, warning that it would continue to block transit as long as the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports remained in effect. Now remember, Donald Trump said that we have a ceasefire, but the blockade of the blockade was going to continue. So I want them to lift their blockade, but we are still going to be there. The British military says a cargo vessel was attacked near the Strait of Hormuz, damaging containers on board. The attack is the second on Saturday after 2 gunboats from Iran's Revolutionary Guards opened fire on a tanker transiting the key waterway. Maybe, just maybe, Donald Trump lied. Maybe Donald Trump lied so that the markets would look good before the weekend and that people he knows would make a shit ton of fucking money. Maybe that. Maybe he lied to you once again and you guys just won't accept it. So then let's move to...
Check Blue app when you can.
Okay. Let's try to see which one of this I want to pull up. Yeah, so Mike Waltz, remember he is our ambassador to the UN. He tends to do a lot of talk on Iran for some reason. And Russia, who's not part of the UN, so that's interesting in and of itself. But talking about the Russian sanctions, they were asking, okay, we paused the Russian sanctions on oil, which allowed them to have a shit ton of money funnel in so that they could continue this war in Ukraine, which is lovely. Love to see that. But also, are you going to keep these sanctions going? Or removing these sanctions. Well, Mike Waltz is going to talk about the fact that he was completely disappointed that Russia and China took the side of Iran. And then he is asked, okay, but you also continued a pause on those sanctions, right? Right? Okay, we'll get into that. Let me just check this before we go. Big W's to Janine for knocking out the rest of the goal. And you said for being you. Thank you, Janine. I appreciate you so much. W's to Janine in the chat, please. I want to see them. I better see W's. Or I'll yell at y'all again. I can do it. They should blockade our blockade. We blockade it. Yeah, Chris, we should do that. Oh my God. So big W's. You said Juanine is crazy. Is that the W for Janine? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you and your support. I really do. Sometimes I have to bully y'all to get it, and I don't like doing that, but I guess that's where we are. And sometimes you guys just do it because you love me, and that's great. Where's Zohan now? Where'd he go? Damn it, Zohan, you missed it. You missed my broke ass crying about making my goal. Oh, poor thing. So here's Mike Waltz. Again, talking shit on Russia and then being caught and asked, like, wait, we're still pausing the sanctions on them and letting them have money.
It's disappointing. The Russians and Chinese chose to side with Iran rather than our Gulf Arab allies.
And you still lifted sanctions on Russia.
But you're going to see, you're going to see.
But you still lifted sanctions on Russia. Yeah.
Continued action this coming week. The entire world is united that a country cannot hold an international waterway and cannot hold the world's economies hostage because it has a conflict with another country. You don't see that in the Straits of Gibraltar, the Bering Strait, the Straits of Malacca, or
yet. If Trump keeps fucking picking on people, then yeah, you literally do. Like, that is war, right? If you attack somebody and they have the means to control a waterway, absolutely that does happen. Got live restricted. Keep tapping that screen.
any other international waterway. Iran is absolutely in the wrong here from a legal, diplomatic, and economic standpoint.
Let me ask.
It's disappointing.
So then why? And I'll show you, because we have the fucking paperwork. Why the fuck are we doing this? Department of the Treasury, Washington, D.C., authorizing the delivery and sale of crude oil and petroleum products of Russian Federation, origin loaded on vessels as of April 17th, 2026. Why are we allowing it? But also that law. It's not okay for any other nation to blockade a waterway, but when the U.S. does it, it's fine. Hi, Sandwich. You guys remember we did the PSA right at the start about Sandwich?
Bye, Sandwich.
Bye, Sandwich. Remember, if you want to continue Ruben's mute, he's all the way into where he's way out. I won't tell him where, but he's way out. $2 a day, $7 a week. I can't remember what the month is. I can never remember what the month is. But here, we'll just play it again. In case you forgot.
Are you tired of seeing Ruben, aka Sandwich, in the chat? Are you tired of seeing his completely idiotic takes? Or maybe you want to contribute to his degradation kink. But remember, we don't kink shame, but it's totally fair to kink ask why. Or maybe you just want him to shut the fuck up. Well, you can keep him muted for as little as $2 a day, $7 a week, or $25 a month from now until whenever we fucking feel like.
$25 a month. That's what it was. We love that for you, Ruben. Keep it up. And like X said, you use your one message a day on the dumbest shit. But, keep going. But again, we're so disappointed in Russia, and yet we continue to allow them to have a pause on their sanctions and sell their oil. Interesting. So they're going to ask Chris Wright now, the Secretary of Energy, if the strait is safe to travel through. Is it safe to travel through? I mean, we know it's fucking not, but he's going to get asked that question because Donald Trump, it's been such an interesting fucking, the rhetoric changes constantly. Chris Wright would say, just have some balls, basically, and go through the strait. He's telling these corporations just do it. That wasn't working out. They weren't doing that. Donald Trump said similar to the same thing. Then Donald Trump said, it's safe again. It's fine. We've won. I don't know how many times we've won the same war that we're still fighting. But now Chris Wright's, I guess, going to tell the truth that the strait is not safe to travel through.
Well, it's not just words, of course, right? Because the Iranians...
Oh, not to forget, sorry, my favorite one, not to forget when Pete Hegseth came out during one of his press conferences and said that the strait is perfectly safe except for them shooting at you. That one.
Are firing upon vessels that are trying to go through the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump had said it was open for business, but then this morning he noted that Iran fired upon a French ship and a UK freighter. So just to be clear, it's not safe right now to go through the Strait of Hormuz, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The president said, well, let me just follow up on that. When will it be?
I think after a deal is reached. It won't be in the too distant future. People are ready to go. Ships are there.
I thought we had a deal. Didn't we have a deal? Oh, and then that one fell through. And then we had a deal on Friday. Oh, and that one fell through. So yeah, when is a deal reached? When will it be safe again, Chris?
The United States put through 2 warships through the straits. We can open it one way or the other, but the best way to do it is to have an end to the conflict and a defanged and de-armed Iran.
How soon will that happen? This week, you think? Next week?
That's probably a reasonable time frame. It's not too far away.
In the next couple weeks.
2 weeks! I hate it here so much. 2 weeks. In a couple weeks. It'll be fine. In a couple weeks. It's been how many weeks now? Oh, we'll get into that. I have a Hassett clip that maybe we can get into about the weeks. Because, actually, I'll just tell you in case we don't get into it. Hassett said, we're reaching that timeline. Donald Trump said 4 to 6 weeks. And it's been about that time. It hasn't. It's been 7. We're already past that timeline. So 2 weeks again? Okay.
Of the blockade of Iranian oil.
It's 2 weeks, Izzy, because Trump supporters and fucking MAGA glazers don't have any concept of time. And so 2 weeks sounds like a long time to them. And even though it's not, and as soon as the 2 weeks passes, they're like, well, he said it, we won. I know that we sent 10,000 more troops over there, but we won because Donald Trump said so.
Puts additional pressure on them. Through the Treasury Department, we're also going after their financial tentacles, which are spread all throughout the region and around the world. We're turning the heat up on the Iranian leadership now.
10 years until fusion. That's a good one. I like that. So then Chris Wright is going to be asked, when will gas go back down? Now remember, Donald Trump touted prices down on day one. Didn't do that. None of that fucking happened. But he also said that gas was under $2 in a lot of places. And on average, it was below $2. So now we're above that, way above that. And so we want to see where the fuck it is. Hold on 1 second. Bad Views. You're the same Bad Views who called Athena the N-word, correct?
Yep, that's him.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew who that was. Okay. See what I mean?
I think he's out of the hole.
Now, here's an example. And yes, I'm calling it out on everybody's side. I could have kept him up. Could have had a conversation. Well, a disingenuous fucking conversation with him. Could have gotten $10 or a swan to boot his ass off. Why would I do that when I know that he took one of the most intelligent black women we have on this app and called her the N-word? Why would I do that? Okay. Hold yourself to a standard, guys. That's all I'm asking you to do. Chris Wright on when will gas be $3 again, even though Donald Trump said it was going to be well below that.
When you were on the show March 8th, I asked you when gas prices would go under $3 a gallon for regular unleaded. You said, quote, in the worst case, this is this is not a month's thing. That was 6 weeks ago, so we're still within the weeks realm, but we're 2 weeks away from the month's thing. When do you think it's realistic for Americans to expect that gas will go back to under $3 a gallon?
I don't know. That could happen later this year. That might not happen till next year. But prices have likely peaked, and they'll start going down. Certainly with a resolution of this conflict, you'll see prices go down. Prices across the board on energy prices will go down.
But it might not be under $3 a gallon until 2027.
Under $3 a gallon is pretty tremendous in an inflation-adjusted terms. We had that in the Trump administration, but we hadn't seen that in inflation-adjusted terms for quite a long time. We'll get back there for sure.
Who's leading the delegate? When you were on the
Okay. Gas prices will go down in 2 weeks. Oh, well, I mean, the rough part about that is this is what Scott Bessent said. He gave us an actual timeline. And now I know that he didn't say 2 weeks. He does not say 2 weeks, guys. We actually get a date. And so I just want us to jot it down. Maybe not MAGA, maybe not the Trump glazers, because they're really bad at that. But mark it on your calendar that this is what Scott Bessent said for the time frame for gas prices, going back down to $3.
That it would be very aggressive if we're going to get to the $3 a gallon gas by the summer. So when are we really going to get $3 a gallon gas?
Well, I think that's going to be the up to how the negotiations go. President Trump said this morning that he thinks we're nearing the end. The U.S.
We've been nearing the end for the last month. We won. We won within 24 hours, I thought.
This is like the worst edging ever.
It's really, really bad. We won. It's done. Did you climax? Because I climaxed. We climaxed. We all climaxed together. Oh, wait, no, except for that part where I'm not done rubbing it. Except for that part. We're still going.
Yep.
Oh, nope, but we won. We won. We did it. What the fuck are we talking about? Did you get yours?
That's crazy.
Kept their side on the ceasefire. We've stopped firing. The Straits of Hormuz have not been completely...
Remember the Strait of Vermouth. Maybe they're all drinking. Maybe they're just all drunks. Maybe that's
reopened. So we will see. And I'm optimistic that during the summer we will see gas with a 3 in front of it sooner rather than later. It's Bank Week here in D.C., so I've been meeting with a lot of my Middle Eastern counterparts, the finance ministers, and they all say that once the straits are open, they can start pumping again within 1 week.
So not by summer, like Memorial Day, but maybe by Labor Day?
Again, I'm optimistic that sometime between June 20th and September 20th that we can have $3 gas again. And as I said this morning too, we are going to
so write that down. Write that
down. So between June 20th to September 20th.
Yep. Anytime between there. We'll go back to $3 a gallon.
I'm done asking questions.
Be watching the gas stations because they raise prices very quickly when when the crude oil prices went up. We hope they'll bring them down just as quickly as crude oil prices have come down.
It actually is hilarious because even if, again, we've talked about this and many economists have said this, that even if the war ends today and the crude oil starts going back down, it is still going to be a while till you see the prices start to regulate out, and even more so because we're getting into summer blend, and that is more expensive. So it's funny he gave himself literally summer when prices tend to be higher anyway, that's the time frame you gave yourself for it to go down.
They've come down substantially just in the past 10 days.
It comes down because Donald Trump opens his big fat mouth and lies so that you all can make money in the stock market. That's why. That's fucking why. Which actually, since we'll do that, we'll stay on gas and we'll go to the economy here specifically. I want to go to, this is on Fox News. They are talking to a U.S. Oil Association President, Tim Stewart, who's talking about the fact that the whole, because this is your guys' argument when we talk about the gas. Well, we're fine, drill baby drill, we're fine. Well, guess what? As we've talked about a million fucking times over the year and a half, we can drill all we fucking want to. We don't use the oil that we drill. That's not oil that we use in this country. You have to refine it. Our refineries aren't made to refine the oil that we drill in this country. So what do? We export it and we import gas from other countries that we use, oil from other countries that we use. So drill baby drill was a great fucking bumper sticker slogan. I'm glad you guys all fell for it. It meant nothing. So, and our refineries are also at 95% capacity. Again, we have seen the layoffs in our oil industry as well. We are losing American oil jobs. Thanks, Donald Trump. We're really fucking winning. Drill baby drill. Again, this is Tim Stewart of the U.S. Oil Association president talking about how drill baby drill actually benefits Europe before it benefits us. So much winning for America first.
We have a graphic of the crude oil prices that we can put up. The prices are high, but they're lower than a week and a half ago. And we know that the U.S. gets very little oil and gas through the Strait of Hormuz, and the U.S. is drilling more. Why can't we just drill baby drill? The price is lower.
It's interesting because the refining capacity is actually the issue in the United States. Our refining infrastructure has been based around actually imported crude, and that started back in the 70s when we really began to rely heavily on imported crude. The refining capacity is not cut up with the production capacity. The interesting thing, the dichotomy is,
I have it like as much as I can look with my brother later and see if I can get the actual Chrome window turned up, Donovan, but it's as like the video itself, that's as high as I can get it. But I'll look into that tonight.
is as we begin to export more light crude to European countries, they're going to see the benefit of our drill baby drill probably before we are. But we have an embarrassment of riches in this country with regards to how much oil and gas we actually have, and that is a blessing. I'd much rather be us here in the United States than us in Europe or anywhere else.
Right, because the problem is that it's a global market, so it affects everything globally. Sure, we might be doing better. We saw that during COVID, right? We had bad inflation. Everybody, 9%, Joe Biden, 9%, which again was June 2022, and it started going down immediately after that. I believe the UK, was it 11 or 12% that they hit in inflation during COVID because of the supply chain and the issues that they were having. So again, this wasn't not a single solitary issue that we were having. This was a global problem. Again, because we are effectuating what's happening with gas in Iran, this is a global problem. Not a good one. Are we faring a little better? Sure, but it's not anything that he promised that it would be, and that's where the problem lies. All right, let's go back to Iran. Specifically, and have Tapper, I know Olive played this morning, but let's go to where Jake Tapper is going with Elise Stefanik about his truth that we're not going to stop talking about because it was absolutely disgusting, and you guys keep trying to add context to it that was not there, about a whole civilization will die. If the pitch of my voice makes your ears hurt, you can leave.
I just think a call for genocide on a college campus and a call for genocide made by the President of the United States, like, they're both bad, right? I mean, that's what I think.
I've condemned genocide across the board. The difference with those university presidents is they couldn't answer the simple, direct question. Just calling for the genocide of Jews. President Trump didn't call for genocide, Jake. You were putting those words in his mouth. He is engaging in diplomatic back and forth.
Your entire civilization will die.
To the table, and we should.
A whole civilization will die tonight. That's not calling for genocide? Oh, let's add the context that he didn't say.
No, it's the terrorist regime, Jake. He's targeting the terrorist regime.
His words.
You can continue the
Why didn't he say that then? He writes paragraphs on paragraphs. I wouldn't say he writes them. He probably has ChatGPT write them for him. He could have written, the whole IRGC will die tonight. He could have just wrote that. It actually would have been less words, or less letters. Would have taken up less of a sentence. That's not what he wrote. Stop trying to interpret his words when that's not what he said.
decades long. But you're adding genocide. That's not what he's
What is wiping
stated.
out an entire civilization?
In the case of the university presidents, I specifically asked them about calling for the genocide of Jews. Again, the president is correct to call out the Iranian terrorist regime, to bring them to the table, to force a ceasefire, and frankly, to free...
Except for the whole, we didn't have any issue with them before Israel started bombing them, and we started bombing them first, right? Except for that part, where it was fine. It was tenuous. It wasn't like a happy-go-lucky friendship relationship, right? But it wasn't this.
The Middle East from this largest state sponsor of terror that has not only killed American lives, but has targeted Israel and the United States of America, including assassination attempts against our elected officials.
Oh yeah, Chris, her career is done.
Is calling for wiping out a civilization. Is calling for wiping out an entire civilization.
Yes, you can't say no. We have the truth. It said that. You cannot add or subtract context to the sentence. A whole civilization will die tonight. You don't get to say no to that. That's what it said.
The Iranian terrorist regime.
But that's not what he said.
Of course it's bad. That is not what he is calling for. He wasn't calling for genocide.
Your entire civilization
it was targeted towards the Iranian terrorist regime.
Except that's not what he said.
All right.
It was targeted
Agree
towards
to
the
disagree.
Iranian terrorist regime.
Agree to disagree. The book
CNN. This is typical CNN.
Okay.
If you want to compare the president...
This is typical CNN. You are talking to a guy who is so hated on the left because he did an entire fucking book talking, even though he doesn't work in the administration, does not work within the government at all. He is exactly like me. He just has a higher paying job where he talks about politics. That's all Jake Tapper does. He talks about politics, and he is hated because he wrote a book about Joe Biden without actually working with Joe Biden, about Joe Biden's mental capacity, and yet refuses to hold the same standard for Trump. This is not typical CNN. You chose the wrong motherfucking host for that. You could have gone any host in the world, Elise Stefanik, but you got Jake Tapper. Sucks to be you. It's not typical CNN. He wrote against Joe Biden. The fuck?
United States to the university presidents who failed to call for the condemnation of calling for the genocide of Jews. That's...
Show me where that happened. And I will condemn it if you can show me where that happened. Where universities were allowing for calling for the genocide of the Jewish people. Show me that.
On you, Jake. The world saw how morally
said.
Equivocating those university presidents were. Yes, you're the one that is it's
No.
not a comparison. So if you
See how she stumbles over words because she can't fucking defend it.
I'm just asking you if you have the same standard for somebody.
That is not the comparison. Of course, genocide is bad across the board, Jake. President Trump effectively brought the Iranians to the table. He effectively delivered a ceasefire, and he is going to effectively deliver peace to the Middle East to stop, frankly, the killing of the Iranian terrorist regime, which kills their own people and has created
Yeah, we kill our people here. Shut up, bitch.
havoc across the Middle East.
We have people who actually supported the strikes against Iran, Iranian Americans and Iranian advocates on the show all the time, and they all were horrified when President Trump called for a genocide of the Iranian, to the quote-unquote wipe out your entire civilization.
He's not calling for a genocide of the Iranians. It's targeted towards the Iranian terrorist regime. It's been consistent.
Except it wasn't. You cannot keep saying that without proof because he never said that. I'm so sick of that bullshit.
Throughout, Jake. And again, that has brought the Iranians to the table. And let's talk.
The Iranians were already at the table. Did we forget? Let's go back. Let's do history again. I have to do it all the time for y'all. Before Operation Midnight Hammer in June of last year, were we in negotiations with the leaders of Iran? Yes, we were. They were in Oman, I believe. I get the country wrong every time. And Israel decided that they were going to strike the leaders there. Except it wasn't the actual leaders. It ended up being one of their sons. The Ayatollah wasn't there. And Israel struck them while they were in negotiations. And then Donald Trump decided that we were going to do Operation Midnight Hammer. And for some reason, the Iranians, again, horrible fucking regime, but they said, we'll still do negotiations with you. We will sit at the table and do negotiations. We were actively talking to them already. And then Israel decided they were going to attack them, and so we decided we were going to attack them too. I am tired of this bullshit. Fucking bullshit. He forced them to come to the table. They were already at the table. They were already there. There were active negotiations. We were covering the negotiations. I was covering them on my show. I showed you the foreign minister of Oman talking about what the Iranians were agreeing to. I showed you guys this. The negotiations that were already ongoing before he decided to do this. It is bullshit that he brought them to the table. They were already at the table. Hi, Avi.
Why you lying? Nuh-uh.
Trump is the best. Trump!
God bless Donald J. Trump.
About the Iranians having killed tens of thousands of their own people.
Yeah,
so if
horrifying.
you want to prop up the Iranian terrorist regime, that's on you. The president has been very effective in calling out the Iranian terrorist regime.
Two things can be true at the same time. The Iranian regime can be awful fucking people, and we can also be awful fucking people, as we double tapped a school.
That's definitely not true. Why are you lying to everybody? Only one thing can be true. Period. Only one side of the story matters. His. The man appointed by God.
I can't. I hate it here.
I also hate it when I play Maggery, okay? I don't have a better name for my alternative personality there. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'll take them.
Yeah, for your we need a nice polite name for you.
Because I think I want to do that bit like once a month. It's so underrated.
Okay. Well, I mean, on that note, Olive, you're going live, right?
Yeah, for a couple minutes.
Okay.
Well, not minutes, obviously.
A couple minutes just to say hi, bye.
A couple minutes. Just gonna do a wrap around, you know?
If it was minutes, don't even bother getting on.
No, I'm gonna try a bit. I'm gonna test my theory that I have. So
we all have theories. You'll have to share it with me. I know what theory. Never mind. I was in there this morning. Yes. I'll make sure to actually put my auto tapper in my purse today so I can take it with me.
Yeah.
Also, I forgot it this morning. I was like, dang it, I wanted to turn it on. My only issue with it is I have to occasionally move it so it keeps registering the taps, because I don't know if y'all know about this, but you can't have your, for those that have auto tappers, you cannot have it on a high setting. TikTok will detect it. If you don't pause it enough times in between, like if you send too many likes, TikTok thinks that it's false engagement, and you can flag your own host for false engagement. So you gotta be real careful with those.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta get my OBS situated.
It's like, get
Jedi, I don't even do 18. I do 9 or 10. And then I pause it like every couple minutes.
I'll drop you.
Wee!
Okay, bye.
Such an
I'm over here. Listen, because I have my own theory. Yes, Speed Racer. I actually bit the bullet a year and a half into doing this, almost 2 years now, and was like, I need an auto tapper, not just for my friends, but for myself.
Yeah.
When you have multiple devices, because unfortunately my people just don't, they like laughing in the comments or just like harassing me in the comments. I don't know which one. Instead of tapping the screen, and I'm like,
too much chatting, not enough tapping.
But you know what I've noticed, and I don't know if I am right on this or not, but the last couple nights I've been live, and since I've had that, and I've had it going, my viewership has improved. I don't know if it's correlated or not.
But it might be.
So it might be. That's the point. So I'm gonna keep going until I prove otherwise.
Okay. Let me do my thank
the
yous and
TikTok
stuff.
shop.
TikTok shop. So I'm gonna drop you down, do my thank yous, and we'll get
Okay,
way to
love you,
go.
bye.
Love you, bye. So thank yous. So let's get our big thank yous out for you guys completing the goal. I just had to bully you a little bit, and I guess you like it that way. And if you like it that way, that's fine. Maybe I'm just not a degradation person, but if you are, go you. W's to Janine. So there was that. Let's go here. W's to Juicy Juice Godfrey. W's to King Dio. PayPal W's to Sparky. Thank you guys so much for helping complete out my goal today. I do appreciate you guys so very much. It's just been rough. It's been rough out here. Having to, like, honestly, this weekend, most weekends, I still am like putting together outlines for the next week. And I didn't. I decided I was going to rewatch The Summer I Turned Pretty and just ignore the world. And I think I did that pretty well. So maybe I just need more time like that. It's just been tiring in these TikTok streets, but it is what it is. So over here on TikTok, so Twitch and YouTube, stick around. I can send you over to Olive, so just hang out there for a second. But Twitch, TikTok, excuse me. TikTok, you guys know the drill. Go over and support Olive. Let's make sure we complete out the rest of her goal. I don't think she had very much left, so I know that we can get that done. So thank you guys so much. We almost got to 100,000 likes, so I appreciate you guys getting me up to 93,000. Thank you. We almost got there. For a midterm Monday, that is not that bad. I will take it. I will be back tomorrow, back to on our bullshit. 10 a.m. Mountain Time, whatever time that is for you. And I will see you guys there. So TikTok, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. All right, Twitch and YouTube, let's get you guys set up, okay? See if I can get this exited out, and we'll get you guys going here. Okay, start right over here. So then I can send you guys right over there, and it makes it so much easier. Okay, bye to you. All right, and bye to you. See you guys.